Serenity now. Serenity now. Okay, we're good. So, got it figured out. At least for now. 2 reboots, 3 tries later, we got it good, I think. So, I don't know. Something I'll have to deal with later when it's not, severe weather. Of course, that's not the way reality works. So, anyway, we'll move on. Can't do anything about it. No point in crying over spilled milk. Okay, so let's get back in the action. So, last we left off, we still had a lingering tornado warning in south central Oklahoma. That one, the tornado warning has dropped. It's just as severe at this point in time. At least it was. It was replaced, and then it looks like a new one did come out here. Okay, so they did issue, looks like a new one. This just came out, a minute ago. So, storm motion north at 38. So there has been a tornado reported, at least from the National Weather Service perspective. So they reissued this particular tornado warning. This is the part of the storm that was going to give everybody fits anyway, so it makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Broad circulation here and here. I may have to switch radar sources because that's not giving me the best picture that I want to see. It's a little far away, so let's do that. If we're going to look for a needle in a haystack, then let's get our best view. Okay. So that's right here at this level.
TVSL detected.
Okay. So there is our circulation center. That is our TVS noted by radar and movement. If it is moving due north, Dibble, 9 o'clock, 9:09, Blanchard, 9:19, Newcastle, 9:31, Mustang, 9:45, Oklahoma City, just before 10 o'clock. That's assuming that this path is, again, on more of a northward track and not a northeast track. So it's going to pick it in the southwest sides of the metro. All right, so this is the northern part of the storm cluster that has been off and on producing tornadoes and or can continue to do so. So we're going to be tracking that one here, obviously, very carefully. Let's see. The speed on this isn't overly impressive. Let's see. Probability of a tornado is at 68%. Let's take a look here at some other data. Do some quick analysis. Let's see. That's a 64 mile per hour outbound with a 23 inbound. Let's switch this. Make sure we've got updated data. 58 and 26. Okay. This is our rotation center, this little green dot. So again, it's not gold or yellow, which means it has not picked up in intensity. Current location, let's see here. Let's see where it's over. Looks like trees. There is a little farmhouse right now that it's over. Otherwise, a lot more land here to go. Okay. CC, cross correlation coefficient. It looks like it looks like we did have a little bit of a touchdown. Let's see, what time is that? 10 minutes. 10 minutes ago. Within the last 10 minutes, let's put it that way. Looked like it's kind of touchdown off and on. That little green or blue color represents that. So it has had official touchdowns, confirmation, at least on Doppler radar as well. Okay, so when we look at this line, this little yellow line, this is where the track the Weather Service has posted in the warning criteria. This is going to pass now on the west side of Dibble. So this track would take it pretty close to, let me get some streets on here. So let me put this in. Okay, so this is Highway 76 on the west side of Dibble. That's the intersection 220 and 39. So kind of in that little quadrant just on the left of that. It'll be where the track of this thing goes. Let's switch this. Okay. So you want to be in your shelters, obviously, if you are in the town of Dibble, in and around that area for the intersection of those two highways. Blanchard as well, be in your shelters coming up for this particular tornado-warned storm. Let's see what else we got. Southwest or northwest Oklahoma. This is those weak storms there. The other ones that moved into Kansas. You have new stuff popping up around the Tulsa area. and in far northern Oklahoma. Otherwise, these are just general thunderstorms, no big deal. So we're not going to focus on any of those. Southwest Oklahoma, there's a long line of storms that goes all the way back down to Big Springs. All right, those are all severe thunderstorms. No tornadoes there. Dallas-Fort Worth, quiet. You've got some elevated storms to your north that are developing here into southern Oklahoma. All right, so the only tornado warned storm will be the one coming into the south side of the Oklahoma City metro area. So we're going to track this one little by little. Thank goodness it's weak as far as the size goes. It's small. It obviously still picked up something because it was detected on the radar system. Let me see. Let's mute this noise. Let's see. Right. This one. I'll find out how to mute it here in a minute. Maybe. Okay. I think. How do I mute this thing? I will check this. Mute site. There we go. All right. This is the new Facebook interface that's giving me fits. So. All right, let's go. What else are we doing? Let's change. I'm going to change this radar site. We're going to go to NOP 4, see if that's running. Okay, that is running. All right, so this radar data is going to be a little closer to the thunderstorm. So it's going to be a little better resolution. All right, so this is this little tornado that we're talking about coming in right along Highway 76 right now, just southwest of Dibble. Our rotation signature is right there. Let's see, let's do this. All right, cross correlation coefficient shows that it is not picking up any debris at this time. Okay, let me look also at the TIDWAR. Terminal Doppler weather radar will also give us a pretty good shot of this thing. All right, so this is moving right on 76 in Twin Springs Lane, coming up on 210th Street. This will pass on the west side of Dibble. Let's see the warning here. Updated. Warning remains in effect until 9:45 for East Central Grady and West Central McLean counties. Confirmed tornado was located near Dibble, moving north at 35 miles per hour. Locations impacted: Newcastle, Blanchard, Goldsby, Dibble, Washington, and Cole. This includes Interstate 44 between mile markers 103 and 104. So take cover if you're in the path of this particular tornado. Okay, so Victor.
Hey, brother, I'm hopping on this storm that's coming into Mustang, and I'm gonna follow it down probably into like the Moore area, see how it does. I'm north of Mustang right now. I'm headed down towards there, so I'll be going live here shortly.
All right, thanks, James. Okay, so the winds has picked up in and around the Dibble area. Let's see, these are about 1,000 feet off the ground, over 60 miles per hour. Let's see here, let's look at some other data. Okay, also about 50 plus on this data set as well. All right, so as we get into more of a populated area, obviously we're going to get more communities involved in more neighborhoods. So this will be more critical, which is the one thing we did not want today, obviously. But for right now, at least, thank goodness, it appears to be small and weak. It has not intensified at all since we've been covering it here. Probability of a tornado is at 79%. So the algorithm is still holding up. Just changed to 75. So the old circulation here is coming in on the southwest side of Dibble, and we have a new one kind of rotating in on this side that's going to rotate back in like so, which is again kind of how this configuration goes. You usually have one pinwheels around another, and then one dies out, another one forms, and it just kind of just cycles, one after another after another. And then sometimes you'll get damaging wind that'll come in on the backside that'll kick out in this fashion. So in this particular case, some of that wind looks like up around the Kreiner area. Not all that strong at this point. Okay, so this is a storm working its way into the south side of the metro, coming up closer to Noble, Norman, and Moore here soon. So it is the only, looks like, tornado warning in the state, along the only storm so far that's been capable of producing small, quick tornadoes off and on over the last hour or so. Let's see. Wind speeds here in north of Dibble picked up to about 70 miles per hour along MacArthur Avenue and 250th Street. Let's switch this radar back over. All right, this is our little circulation center now. The old one right here has died off. So again, this is north of Dibble. Okay. Here's those winds up around 76, 90 miles per hour. That is located over 2 miles north of town. So that's 250th and Roseland. Okay, so it looks like we have a little tornado that just developed right there. So the intersection I'm talking about with those winds kicked up, so that's 250th Street, MacArthur. That's where that particular tornado would be. There is a CC lowering at that point in the first initial wave of the radar data. All right, so that would be our new tornado. That's our gate-to-gate shear vector. So that's 98 miles per hour and 66 miles per hour outbound and inbound. Let's see, coming up on the west side of Cole, it'll come up on Highway 74, kind of between Cole and Blanchard here in a little bit. So be in your shelters. Let's see. So as always, the lowest floor, away from all outside walls and windows. You can cover yourself up with a mattress, blankets, whatever you have, just to try to protect you from any flying debris that may be around. That was an immediate quick spin up and then a decay, but if you look, it was just fast enough to create the debris signature. So that was a very strong, small tornado. These are square mile blocks right here. So that thing that we measured was probably about 150 yards wide. And it had wind speeds over 110 miles per hour. And it did do a little damage because it picked up on the blue, so it's our cross correlation coefficient. So it did a little damage there. Let's see. For this area, that was trees, and there's a couple of farmhouses. So looks like most of what that radar picked up was trees. Let me see something else. Missed it. Yeah, it's very low to the ground, so it wasn't very strong. It's good. All right. So that has since weakened considerably. But it's a situation where it could always re-intensify because it's in that same region of circulation. All right, so again, if you're coal, that particular circulation is gone. It didn't last long. It's a couple minutes. Did a little damage, and then we'll see if a new one forms in its place. This is the overall circulation pattern within it. Okay, so this is the radar reflectivity structure coming back in. So it's kind of like the donut hole here, of where things are moving around inside the storm. So yeah, even at the let's see, what frame was that? Yeah, 5 minutes ago. So that was an older frame 5 minutes ago. Another tilt up off the surface just to verify that was not an artifact at the low level. Okay, so let's go over here to Oklahoma City. Let's go to the Tidwar here, and that residual circulation is right over coal. Very weak compared to what it was a minute ago. These wind speeds around 48 outbound and 15 inbound, so very, very weak. But that is the spot we're looking at. This is right along 74B. All right, that's going to cross over May Avenue. Let's see, so up 280th Street. So that's next, 280th Street, then May Avenue, just north of Cole. This is that residual tornadic circulation. Right now, I'm so glad we're looking at a very small tornado versus a large one. I'm very thankful for that. Let's see, down south, new warning for Carter County. So we're going to split. We'll come back to you guys from Cole. You see where the Weather Service has put the yellow line for the track. They've updated that here just a moment ago. Let's give you a track on that, by the way. That way you know what the time of arrival is. So Moore, 9:40, so another 20 minutes. Del City, 9:51. Midwest City, 9:53. Nakoma Park, 10 o'clock. Spencer, 10. Choctaw, and Wells Jones. So that'll take you through the whole side of the metro, east side of the metro. Okay, so let's see. Let's go down. By the way, the probability of a tornado is at 70% for that one. Let's see. And also movement still to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. The one down here in southern Oklahoma, pretty good velocity couplet with this. Much wider and stronger than the one we're dealing with up there. Let's see, inbound. Let's see, 68 miles per hour, 12 in the out. Does have gate-to-gate shear with it. Okay, so on this particular one here, we are Wildcat Gym Road. This is east of Highway 76 and north of Highway 53 and west of Midway Road. So that is where that particular tornado warning is. So let's do a track on it as well. This one has Paul's Valley at 10:05 and Paola at 10:13. And then Wynnewood also kind of on the edge of that one. So 2 tornadic storms, one south, one north. This one here in the metro is north of Cole. Looks like we might have twins here on this particular data set. There's one here and there's one here. They're both weak. Let's go to a closer radar view. Let's see, what's the time on this one?
TVSL detected.
Yep. So one here. This one's dying out. This one still going. Let's see here. Inbound wind 59 miles per hour, outbound 25. So again, another small tornado. However, both of these still have debris signatures. Here's this one here, and here's this one here. So they are small, but they are potent, it looks like. Underneath, again, a lot of open land, a lot of trees, so not any densely populated communities at this time. Okay, so again, this is passing between Goldsby and Newcastle, east of Blanchard. So coming in toward the west side of Norman, up I-35. If the track continues on this yellow line, it'll take it between Moore and Norman here over the next 30 minutes. Currently, it is twin tornadoes right now, but they're on the weak side. The actual location of these tornadoes. So one just shifted now to the east, and this one up here went back to the north a little bit. The CC still follow, so they're still picking up something ground level. So no major roadways that they're impacting right now, so that's good. It's in an area of a field land. Sirens are sounding in southeast Oklahoma City on the south side of town. So we will have these this tornadic center of the storm go through the south and southeast side of the Oklahoma City metro here over the next 20 minutes. And then we'll see if the track still takes it to the east side of the metro over time. Again, where the rotation set up, see the blue? So the storm, the tornado is on the ground. It is doing at least some minor damage or picking up something on the ground. Let's go back here. So we basically track these street by street. If you're not in that path of the street, and so we use these tools like the yellow lines, and we call out like the intersections in which they'll be coming up to. And if you're not in that specific spot or the next street up, the next path up, you can rest easy, right? I mean, you're still in your shelter, but you're not in that immediate path of the tornado. Remember, these are small right now. On Doppler radar, they're only estimated to be up around 150 yards wide, as big as they've been. That's a key point to remember when you do seek shelter. Okay, so let's turn this radar off. See what I'm saying right now? Those debris signatures, you know, if you don't put context to that, you're going to freak people out. Because it's a point of concern, right? It tells you that, yes, we have confirmation because we can't see it at night. There's no one there, so the radar can tell us. And that's great, but also it helps to know what that debris is for as far as immediacy and urgency. But right now, it's trees. So there's no houses or anything in the path of these so far. I wish it could stay that way. It's getting closer and closer to, populated areas, but for right now, they've been in unpopulated regions. Okay. Testbed radar still showing this storm coming in on the west side of Norman. So it's just about to cross over Highway 9. So Highway 9 in Western is about the intersection of where this small tornado is going to be. I'm going to keep flipping through different radars because I'm going to have to make sure that we track every single one very well. We don't miss anything. There's two, so there's another little one here trying to develop on the west side of Norman. So we've got this one again crossing over Highway 9, Western Avenue. Let me see. Let me look quickly at that one south. This warning is still going on. It doesn't look nearly as tight and well defined as it did before.
Gee, I got rotating rain curtains. I'm at 24th and Lindsay Street. The power just flickered off just now. I am live on.
Okay, so that was Russ. So they're out storm chasing. He said he had power flashes. Let's see, I think I had his tab open and then closed it. Okay, so this is his path here. Okay, Russ, I have your feed. What street did you say? Let's see if he can check back in. Okay, so while he's doing that, again, we got to track the circulation centers on radar. Let's see, 21, 28. Let's go here. All right, so this one, still Highway 9 and there's Southeast 44th. I think it's about where he said he was in Western. I think that's what he said. If that's what he said, he's right in the path of it. Russ, did you? Can you repeat where your location was?
TVSL detected.
He may not be able to hear me. It may be loud. His vehicle. Okay. So right now, that seems to be the main circulation center coming into the west side of Norman. I'm looking to see if I see any more. Yeah, looks like that's it for this one, at least for the time being. The other one kind of disappeared.
24th and Lindsay Street.
Oh, 24th and Lindsay Street, so for Norman. Okay. So he's got signal issues. That's why he didn't get back to me. Okay, let's see here. So again, if you're on the west side of Norman, you need to be in your shelters for this particular tornado-warned storm. Luckily, it's been very small. It hasn't. I'm looking for the latest on the cross correlation coefficient. That seems to have not shown up here recently, so that's good news. So we may be kind of lucky. The tornado may have lifted. Checking all areas here on the west side of Norman. So we're now at West Robinson Street and I-35. So that's the general circulation feature. So coming on the west side of town. Still no cross correlation coefficient, so that's good. This is a weak circulation then at this point, going right over the area. So be in your shelters. This is now coming up on West Robinson Street, just east of 35. Let's see. Also looks like 24th Avenue Northwest. So he's out there just kind of, he's right on the edge of us. He's basically getting a ton of just blowing rain. And he had some, I think he said, power flashes off into the distance. Okay, so in this particular case, I don't see anything else popping up. So this is still the only leftover circulation center. 24th Avenue Northwest and 35 on the west side of Norman. So this is where the circulation center is. Keep in mind it's very, very weak, a little broad. If I look for tornado debris signatures in that spot, there's nothing there. This is probably ground clutter contaminating the data. It has to be co-located. And that's north. All right. Okay, so again, we have a tornado warning here for the Moore and Norman region. This storm is moving to the north at 31 miles per hour. It does have some hail with it. We've been tracking the storms for, obviously, it's already kind of in the Moore and Norman area, so make sure you're in your shelters. And we got Midwest City, Nakoma Park, and Choctaw coming up over the next 30 to 45 minutes. So if you are on, let's say, the west of I-35 right now, you're not in that path of that particular tornado. If you're the east side of I-35, on the west side of Norman, you are. New data coming in here. The wind speeds have kicked up quite a bit. So let's see here. We're now at close to 50 outbound and 40 inbound. So these are increasing winds in this area. So this, in other words, the tornado looks like it's reforming and is likely probably on the ground at this point. So that changed here rather quickly, just in the last few minutes. 2 miles west of Hall Park, paralleling the interstate. We'll see if it has. It does correlate with the cross correlation coefficient. Unfortunately, that is some shared with some contaminated data. Let's see. So I don't know if that's believable. I'll look another radar view to see. Regardless, this is the spot to take shelter in that we're looking at, that we're watching. That location is right here on Flood Road, Industrial Boulevard. So the path on this will continue to take it in this fashion. So if you live anywhere in the intersection of State Highway 77, where it splits east and north, you want to be in your shelters there. Up through Franklin Road, up through Indian Hills Road, East Indian Hills Road, anywhere along the path from there to North Porter Avenue. Even if you're out here toward 12th Avenue Northwest, you want to be in your shelters. Give yourself a little bit of a vector here in case it does meander as it develops. So those are the next intersections in the path of this particular developed tornado. Let me look at the data points here. There is actually a weather station in this area that it went right over. We might get some data from that. Yeah, it was officially touching down because it looks like there was a little debris signature right there when it did strengthen on on velocity data there briefly.
Detective.
It wasn't long though. It was just for that little spot, the little intersection, and then it lifted. So it was on there for like a couple of minutes. New data come in. Let's see, on this particular radar view, it's gone. So that's good. So it's reorganizing again. A little bit of wind here. Intersection of West Croc Creek Road and North Porter Avenue. But the tornado aspect of it isn't there. The debris signature is gone as well. So this is a very transient, short-lived, small tornado. Probability of a tornado, for what it's worth, 85% on the algorithms. Make sure you're not missing anything else. Sometimes you get too hyper-focused on one area and then something else develops and you miss it, right? Pretty good wind outbound from the radar site here on the east side of Norman. or excuse me, more. The storm down south, still watching that one. Nothing too crazy on the velocity data from that one. So we're going to stick with this one. Again, path on this, Midwest City coming up in just 10:06, Nakoma Park and Choctaw. Right now going through Moore and Norman area. Again, moving to the northeast at about 31 miles per hour. The tornado warning continues until 10 o'clock for those of you folks in the Moore and Norman region. This is actually east of Newcastle, so you're probably having sirens sounding. It's not for you, although you're in the polygon of the storm. Let's see, so these winds here have picked up, outbound winds feeding into the storm right here at 70 miles per hour coming in from the radar, and that is on Southeast 149th Street. So what that is some very significant inflow coming in to the parent mid-level circulation feature, and that's going to help to feed this little tornado down here. So this tornado right now is located near Hall Park, so right around 77, and where 77 splits basically. Let me get this centered over. So we have two little interesting areas of enhanced wind. These winds up here around the terminal Doppler weather radar is 81 miles per hour. And this little wind right here also up around 80 to 90 miles per hour. So two little embedded rotation centers likely with this. Like I said, this one is the 77 split. This one over here is Franklin Road and 36th Avenue, just on the west side of 35. All right, so there's two potential tornadoes then right there. They're both moving to the northeast. So again, be in your shelters for more while along I-35, and also for this other one just east of the Max Westheimer Airport. So we're going to track these here. Let's see. Let me go to the Tidwar and look at the wind speeds here. So inbound winds are up around 50 and outbound 60 plus. So about 100 mile per hour wind shear here at the radar site. All right, and that has, let's see, obscured the storm for Norman. Can't use that one for a while. So go back to Twin Lakes. All right, another little circulation center. This is weak. This out here is on 77 and East Franklin Road. We'll see if that intensifies. Probability of a tornado is holding at 85%. All right, so the circulations have come down briefly here. That's good news. They are quick to ramp up and quick to dissipate. So leftover circulation, East Indian Hills Road and South Midwest Boulevard. Moving to the northeast from there. So this is passing well on the east side of Moore. So kind of up toward the Twin Lakes radar site. It'll be coming up on, looks like Southeast 134th Street and Douglas Boulevard. Probably about in that intersection location. There are remnants of this. Nothing else is imminent as far as a touchdown is concerned. So don't have any, looks like anything on radar at this very moment in time. All right, we do have these little pockets of strong wind. Let's zoom into those. This is at 24th Avenue Northeast and Indian Hills Road is south of there. Back out here west on 35 on Southwest 34th Street. Winds up around 60 there. Those are kind of two older circulation features. Here's another one. Winds up around 50 to 60. And this is on Southeast 119th and Sooner Road. And we have a little convergence right here. It's very weak, but this might be the development of our next tornado. Again, coming on Lake Stanley Draper, just west of that. This is south of 104th. Let's see. Oh, new update just came in. Let's see what that did. Anything? No, that new circulation dissipated. Good. Okay, so we're getting kind of close to Tinker, Midwest City. The region that had the tornado still is not materialized. A little bit of leftover wind from it, though, around 50 miles an hour. The little patch of wind here is the strongest. It's up around 60. Let's see. We're looking at Southeast 34th Street and Eastern and Broadway. A little patch of wind around 60 miles an hour. Let's see. Do we have anything else? Not yet. Okay, new tornado warning for this little area, which was the remnants that's coming in now on the south side of Tinker. Let me see if that shows up back on this radar. Okay, it does. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, we're okay there so far. Let's go look at the Tidwar data. Okay, that's still running. All right, strong inbound winds through the Tinker area, Midwest City. These winds are up around 73 miles per hour at 600 feet elevation. Outbound wind right here, again, indicates residual leftover area of the prior tornado. So nothing has regenerated yet. That would be the area, though, we would have to watch for. Within the storm itself, it is producing some winds on the backside of it, around 57 miles per hour. Back into Norman, the west side, back through Moore. Again, this is the old remnants. This is the yellow line, tracks that. Weather Service doing a good job here. South Post Road and 240 is that update. Let's see here. Let's go. Let's switch over to this guy so I can give you a new storm track. And see the info in this one, moving northeast. Okay, so the Weather Service has changed the speed to now 60 miles per hour. It was much less than that earlier. Expires at 10:30. That's 45 minutes for this one. Let's see here. Tornado warning for southeastern Oklahoma County, northern Cleveland, till 10:30.
Hey, AT, I'm at 12th and Robinson. I'm going to turn up northbound on 77. I'm going to try to get back to 240 and attack this thing from the back. I should be able to catch up to it pretty quick. To recap, yeah, I believe there was a tornadic circulation just to my southeast, or maybe even to my north. But I had some very strong northerlies, northwesterlies, which tells me there was a circulation that was very close to me if it was on the ground. I did not see any power flashes, which would probably tell me there was no touchdown. But that's all I have for now. I will tell you again when I get close and see if I see anything different.
Thanks, Rush. Appreciate it. Okay. So we're still watching to see if anything new develops out of this old circulation center. It's about to come up to the split on 240 and 40. It's on Post Road and Stanley Draper. Let's see here. From there down, nothing. That's good. This storm has actually kind of weakened quite a bit in the last few minutes. We'll see if that trend continues. Let's see. Do a recent storm track on this one. I don't think I did, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. There it goes. All right. So Choctaw 951, Hera 955, Wellston 1008, Warwick and Chandler up to 1016, then Stroud up to around 1028, Cushing, it's way down there, 1034. Now this is just the leftover remnants of the tornado. So there's not a tornado with that right now. One could redevelop, but that's where that leftover circulation was. Believe it or not, I have a different circulation, looks like it's trying to develop in this area here, which is not on that midline of that track. Southeast 59th Street, Douglas Boulevard is where that's located. Let me switch radar sources. Let's see what this one sees. Yeah. Alright, so enhanced wind field here and here to rotate to and through. So that might help to spin this thing back up. This is the location right here. So this is South Post Road and Southeast 44th Street. So that would be our new tornadic circulation. So it's just a little bit left of this yellow line here. This guy here.
TVSL detected.
We'll see if that intensifies. The old one is here. Alright, this will be coming up. Tornado precautions are required if you live on Choctaw Creek, Southeast 29th Street, up around South Anderson, South Hawassi, South Haney Road, be in your tornado shelters. North from there, South Choctaw Road, East Reno, Henny, and over here toward eventually North Choctaw Road as you head into Choctaw itself. You need to be in your shelters. Probability of a tornado is at 88%, so that number is still holding quite high. So this is our tornado warned storm here in central Oklahoma. There are other tornado warned storms down south. Let me go quickly look at those. The ones down here on I-35 around the Davis area. There's a little weak circulation here on I-35 just north of Highway 7, about a mile. So in your shelters if you live along I-35 just north of 7. The one south from there, let's see here. It's down here toward Ardmore. I don't have a good data for this one. We'll just use the track. Right now that's passing well west of town of Ardmore. It'll be making its way over, I see that's Broadway Street, but that's 70. Let's see, what's that cross street? North J. Roman Road. So be in your shelters there. I'll come back to look at that here in a minute. There's one in Pontotoc County for Ada around Fitztown. So this one, circulation center here and here. You have dual circulations for tornadic potential in both of these areas. There's no cross correlation coefficient, so nothing has been detected by radar as in damage or being picked up. The circulation is not quite that strong yet either. Does have a little rotation product with it. Nothing overtly strong, but this is kind of a new thing here. Let me go back a few frames. So yeah, that one has been rotating just north of Connerville it was actually pretty strong when it was right about this spot, about 2 miles north of Connerville. Probability of a tornado at 76 and 73%, but then it split into two, so it's going through some reorganization. So we might be in a situation now where some of these just start producing tornadoes, as soon as they kind of get going. Here's another one down here, may do that. So we'll see what happens. Let's go back up here to the one in the metro, though. So that little spot I was talking about has intensified a little bit more right here. So Weather Service has updated its track. Right now, Southeast 15th Street is where that's located, right along Choctaw Creek, South Anderson Road. We have any debris signature? Looks like we do. Let me think. Let's see. Yeah, that is a looks like a debris signature for that one. So that tornado then has reformed in that area. What's the data on that? It's a little behind. Let's go to this radar here. These things are moving fast, so I've got multiple radars to use. So make sure we track it by the minute. All right, this one has fallen apart again. Hiwassee Road and East Reno Avenue. That's the intersection of what's left over from that one. All right, let me go back a few frames. Yeah, it was never really that strong on radar. Impressive. All right, so again, if you're in Choctaw, the residual part of the circulation will be passing on the west side of town, so stay in your shelters for that. There are spotters reporting large power flashes in Ardmore. Now, we did look at that. It looked like the storm was on the west side of town. Let's see. Anything else developing? Let's see. McLeod and Dale. No. This is just the only one. Residuals right here, the one coming in on the west side of Choctaw. Right along 62 right now, and Hiwassee Road. That would be your leftover tornadic circulation. All right, now that has shifted just a little bit more to the north, so it's northeast 36 and just east of Hiwassee, west of North Henny. Very, very weak on radar. Very, very weak, so that's good. Okay, let me go back down here. All right. So for the metro, that's the only one right now that is a threat. Probability of a tornado is at 92% on the algorithm, so it just is holding high from the shear in the atmosphere. Let me see. Speaking of which, before that storm arrived, we had some good turning at the lower levels, then it kind of got linear after that. So we still have about 45 degrees of turning with height.
TVSL detected.
Okay, so let's see. Let's look at some other sites, because the signatures for this has really fallen apart for right now. And we'll come back to it in case it does start to re-intensify. But just stay in your shelters until that storm passes. We do have to go look at these other storms south. Okay, so let's see. This one again for Fitztown. Circulation, the two of them, one is died out, the other one still continues on the east side of Fitztown. Probability of a tornado is at 65%. That's moving to the north. It'll be on the passing on the west side of Stonewall. Stay in your shelters for that one. All right, let's see. Let's go to. What's the time on this one? Okay, it's good. All right, Wynnewood. This circulation feature is on the east side now of 35. Let's see. It's on the River Bottom Road. just west of 77. Let's see, Cross Street, East River Bottom Road. So that was where that circulation feature's located. So be in your shelters for that one. All right, let's see. It's very broad, very weak though. I mean, it's not a tight couplet, so that's good to see. Okay, so down here in Ardmore, like I said, this storm had passed on the west side of Ardmore, west of 35. The area is now up around south of Springer. So it's 35 and Deer Creek Road west, though, on the opposite side of the interstate. That's the location with that one. This will be coming up on Highway 53 and 35 here momentarily. So be in your shelter for that one. Again, there was reports at one point of confirmation that a tornado was on the ground for that one, and there was power flashes. Of course, sirens are sounding in many areas. Let's see. Let's go back to the Metro one. Okay. So where you see this little diamond, this little triangle, this is a very small tornado that had some damage that lofted it out and spread it out. Now because it's spread out, it should mean that it had lifted, and now it's just carried in the environmental flow of the storm. Because you can see where the track originally was this way, and the blow-off went this way. Because, you know, as that gets elevated in height, the wind field is from the southwest, and it should carry it. So we'll see if that's what happened. I can look at the... see if I can get it this way. Might have to change my view to make this work. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's do this real quick. Yeah, I don't see anything lofted tall. Yeah, very, very weak. All right, that's good. Okay. So, no strong circulation centers for these tornado-warned storms. There's very weak little couplet areas like this one right here. That's a new one that just now formed. No cross-correlation coefficient with that one. In other words, no debris signature yet. And it may not even get one. That's just an area of a notch on an area of high shear. The old warning that pretty much just fell apart. The old track though is in this direction. So after going through Choctaw and around the Jones area, it's just there's very just weak wind fields all over the place. Rotation centers, nothing standing out. So these are almost kind of like little QLCS type tornadoes, very small, short-lived, weak. So this will probably be our next one to watch more closely. Let's do a track on that one. Let's see here. Chandler 1026, Kendrick 1040, Agra 1047. Movement on this one is to the northeast at 33 miles per hour. Wording on this, southwestern, hold on.
All clear. There are no storms present in your vicinity.
Okay, so southwestern Lincoln County, severe storm capable of producing a tornado located 6 miles northeast of McLeod, moving northeast at 35. All right, we got back here in Arcadia. There is a little bit here in Edmond. Let's see, just some convergence lines. Nothing yet. Okay. Let me switch radar sites just to make sure. All right. We'll see. There's a lot of inbound wind in this part of the storm, and there's a little patch of outbound wind. It's way too far apart from one another, so we'll just see what happens. Keep an eye on it. That's it, really. Everything else is kind of falling apart, and this guy here is still worth watching, but so far hasn't tightened up. All right, let me see anything else down here. The other ones are down to southern Oklahoma, so we're going to have to move away from this area so I can cover those other ones as well. It's a problem when you have multiple tornadoes. It's just bad for trying to cover too many different things. So that's what I'm saying. This little spot here on 35 in Edmond, there is a little something here that could be their parent mid-level cyclone up here. All right, patch of wind though, up around 60 plus miles per hour, 60 to 72 along the Turnpike and Triple X Road. From there, 63rd on 35 and 50th Street, another patch of wind up around 60. This is not tornado related, it's just damaging wind related. Kickapoo Nation, east of you toward 77 and toward Jacktown, between there and Fowler, also winds up around 60. So pockets of damaging wind. Let's see here. Got to watch this area here, just make sure it doesn't do anything. It's on the meso-low. Okay, so let's go down south. So here's our circulation for the Wynnewood area. Make sure you're in your shelters for Wynnewood. Let's see this one out here. Now southeast of Ada. Not quite as organized as it was before. Make sure you're in your shelters. Francis coming in at 1017. Be passing on the east side of Ada by about 6 miles. This guy here for Wynnewood. Okay, Wynnewood 1007 buyers and Waynette coming up between now through 1050. Stratford, you're not in that path. I mean, you're in the cone, so you'll still want to take shelters because you're within the tornado cone. All right, and then Ardmore. Let's see. This one actually had a confirmation of a tornado on the west side of the highway we talked about. It's a tornado moved through Ardmore earlier. All right, let's see. Circulation center is north of Springer, east of 35, by about 2 miles. There's no road networks out here. Okay, so those are our 3 circulations. Anything else? Anything up north? No. Okay, so those are our 3 tornadic thunderstorms, at least the ones that have warnings on them. So we're going to make sure these don't misbehave. Here's a circulation center here that is right along, what is it, 77 and East Road 980. Chandler coming in 1026, Kendra 1040. Be in your shelters. Looking back here at the Edmond thing, so far so good there. All right, let me switch radars. Okay, so there's that one. This one here around Springer looks a lot better on this radar view. It's tight circulation. Still, there's no roads over there. There's nothing to reference it to. Let's see. This one here in Wynnewood, still going there.
Attention. There are storm cells present in your vicinity. TVSL detected.
Okay, let's go back here to that Edmond area for Luther. Okay. What happened to that little deal I was looking at earlier? Time for that. Let's do this. Okay, so that was it. Just didn't do anything. Good. All right. So we're looking for this little weak circulation here on 177 and East 960, coming up south of the Turnpike by 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 miles. Let's see, Meeker. No, okay there. Shawnee, okay. So basically, you kind of have to watch this general area for anything that may quickly spin up. So there may be continuing of tornado warnings, even though there may not be a tornado at the time, just because they're favored regions to see something pop up quickly and then dissipate. As we've noticed, these things don't last very long, and they drop down, do a little bit of damage, and they lift back up. Okay, so that's what we have here for the metro. All right, so I'm going to focus a bit more on southeast Oklahoma. We'll come back to these guys until that thing strengthens. There's really nothing more to say. All right, so southern Oklahoma. We'll start with Pauls Valley, see Wynnewood area. Okay, this particular storm. Anything on the debris signature side? No, we do not. Go back a few frames. There may have been a little something there. We go rotation product. There was one frame where the rotation product was pretty decent here on the east side of Wynnewood. And that's about it. And that's where there was a little lowering of the cross correlation coefficient. AKA the tornado debris detector, I guess, is the layman's way of saying it. The other one is a mouthful, so sure, why not? Let's see. So we have dual circulations here, one here and one here, both very weak. Probability of a tornado for here is 51%. Let's see, new data here. So now those things have disappeared. We got one broad one now underneath the hook. Let's see, closest road, North Road 3300 and East Road 1620, north of there, and south of East Road 1600. So let's see, just for the sake of looking, back over open farmland with a lot of trees. Okay, so that's the Wynnewood storm. Let's go back south now to the Dotary. All right, on the southwest side of town, let's see what's out here. A lot of trees. All right, so this particular tornado-warned storm, it's now north of Springer by about 4 miles, and it's southwest of Dotary by about 2 miles. Had quite a bit of wind with it, so it's probably loud in the town. Probably hearing a lot of wind. There is no debris signature with this one, at least nothing strong. So in other words, it hasn't lofted anything up tall for the radar to see at 5,000 feet. So if anything, has been low and weak for this guy here over the last few minutes. Okay, let me see what else we got. Anything else? Okay, let's go over here to Ada. Again, this is all east of you, right along Highway 1. It lost pretty much all of its circulation characteristics. I don't see much. So that storm didn't do a whole lot. All right. Okay, so basically 2 tropic storms which have a really good shot at producing tornadoes. This one here in Dotary, and then also this one northeast of Wynnewood. They're all moving to the north-northeast. The other one, we'll see what it's doing. Here closer to the metro, these little eddies on the leading edge, but they're not like anything like they were when they were going through the south side of Oklahoma City. Probability of a tornado is down to 51% as a result. Let's take a look at some winds that may be transitioning over to just basically a big wind maker here. This is the mid-level circulation feature in the storm, this back edge, this little comma head. So that's where you have these little mixer of colors of red and green here. And from that, you will get the enhancement of the wind to the east of it. So there's winds up around 60 miles per hour. A little higher. This is East Charter Oak and just outside of the town of Fallis. So some pretty strong winds there. Meeker, you guys have some strong winds north of you, up to around 60, 65, maybe 70. Yeah, 70 miles per hour. All right. Let's see, otherwise just areas of wind anywhere from 40 to 50 to 60, all in this red area. Ada-Lot and Meeker. Tornado-wise, don't see anything there. Yeah, these are those mid-level winds down here at Dotary that up around 80 plus miles per hour, very strong, feeding into that tornadic storm. Another strong area of wind up here in Ardmore again, 90 miles an hour. This is a loft, this isn't at the surface. It's just winds feeding into these thunderstorms from the low-level jet. Okay. Alright, let me step back, get the big picture again. Let's see, this one do anything to Chandler? So this is a little area for Chandler coming on the southwest side of town, about 4 miles outside. Still weak, but there is a little couplet there, very, very weak, broad. Okay, let's switch this over. So that's our big picture. So we have storms all the way down here to southwestern Texas. Tornado watch in yellow from northwest Texas, outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, up into central, southern, eastern Oklahoma, all the way up to Tulsa. And that extends even on into southeastern Kansas, and now back into Missouri. And from Missouri to Illinois, this is the largest. Now, it's not one single tornado watch, but it's multiple, all to cover the flow aloft in the atmosphere from the upper level low that is coming out here. Again, kicks out a wind that's out of the southwest, which trains these storms in this fashion. So they will move to a northeasterly fashion. They sometimes will move more to the right once they produce a tornado and a big one. Otherwise, they keep track to that northeastern path. Hence, you have this outline of severe weather that will follow through it over the next several hours. Okay, so back here in Oklahoma, guys, in Tulsa, you're finally starting to get some showers in your area. You're getting some thunderstorms here soon. This guy here is going to basically work up the turnpike. It's going to eventually get north of it, though, and honestly, it may end up passing west of Tulsa on the current track. New tornado warning for it around the Chandler area. Agra, Cushing, 1057, and Yale, 1113. That's just the residual. So this one moving to the northeast at 33 miles per hour. Wording on this. For Lincoln County, northern Lincoln County, until 11. Severe storm capable of producing a tornado located near Warwick, moving northeast at 35. Locations include Chandler, Stroud, Davenport, Kearney, Tryon, Agra, Sparks, Warwick, Kendrick, Avery, and Parkland. Includes Interstate 44 between mile markers 160 and 180. Let's take a look at the velocity data on this. And we will pixel query this stuff. So up around 60, 70 miles per hour. These little areas between Fallis and Kearney. Out here toward Chandler, also around 60. And then from there to Sparks, these winds up around 70 miles per hour. There's 80 all on this area. And then Meeker itself, still you got some pretty gusty winds up around 60. Not nearly as bad as before. And much lighter everywhere else. So this is what we're starting to see. You see these little indents? Here, I'll point this out to you. Right here, indent there, indent here, maybe there. So when you have these, squall line type deals that form, you can pick up little eddies that produce little quick, what they call QLCS tornadoes. Very short-lived, usually small. But as these start to show up more and more on radar, it may be an indication that we might have to start dealing with some of those. For right now, we've just been focusing on the ones that develop here on the north side of this bulge for the extra shear in that region. Look at these wind speeds. Here in this area, then, this purple, pinkish, is up around 70 plus miles per hour. Okay, so that's what's happening on the north end of that. Let's see this one around Bing. New tornado warning for this one. Come up to Saskatchewan at 1027, Wewoka 1046, Cromwell 1102, Bearden 1104, Castle 1115. Let's see, direction moving to the north at 45 miles per hour. Pretty much all of these had a hail marker in there from 1 inch and a quarter to 1 inch and 3/4. Okay, so from there we'll come back over here toward west of Stratford, east of Pauls Valley. So come in toward the Byers area for this particular area of the storm. Here at 10:33, about 10 minutes or so, Waynette and Asher and Tribby till 11 o'clock. for that part of the storm. And let's see, the one south of it, coming in toward the west side of Sulphur. So between Sulphur and Davis, this is the next tornado warned storm. Right now, coming up over Lance Road and let's see, North Road 3350. That's about 4 miles southwest of Sulphur. So be in your shelters for that one. And then we've got this other little enhanced area of wind that's still moving north out of Ardmore. Doesn't have much in the way of. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me switch my source here. Yeah, still doesn't have much in the way of an outbound wind with it. So that's just a weak broad circulation coming into Springer. So nothing warned on that. The one warned on, like we said, is the one coming in southwest of Sulphur. So very large area broad circulation with a tighter couplet. Radar likes two, one here and one here. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's go back here into the metro. All right, so this little guy east of Chandler has spun back up. Yep, there's a little bit of a debris signature right here. So that looks like another touchdown from a tornado. Let me look at this guy. Now it's not strong because this debris here it's not blue. You see how it's just light color, green and yellow? That indicates that it's barely got anything aloft. When it gets darker blue, that's a stronger correlation that is not raindrops at all. It's just big materials. But regardless, it does indicate that there is at least a touchdown of damaging wind that correlates with the rotation characteristic on the radar. It does have your rotation product enhanced there. Very, very weak though. These have been really, really weak. Usually, when we're talking about tornadoes, these products change colors to red, like they did earlier this afternoon. They usually don't stay this low end. So this tells me a few things. That we're getting these type of tornadoes because of low-level jet and the low-level shear is what we're getting them on, not based off of instability and some other characteristics that usually happen to produce a strong, large tornado. But they seem to be just kind of popping up sporadically, lasting just for a minute or two and then dissipating. We'll see if that trend continues much longer. So the debris signature is still very, very minor with this one, but it does look to appear that there is a tornado. The location of this, by the way, is literally coming up on Highway 66 and North Road 3480. That is between Chandler and Stroud, so it's about 5 miles east of Chandler, and about 10 miles southwest of Stroud. So this will cross over the turnpike here, so hopefully and it's dark, it's nighttime, so if people on the turnpike, odds are they will not be able to see what's coming, so hopefully this doesn't end up poorly. Let's see. Rotation characteristic actually got stronger. It has some yellow there. Cross correlation coefficient is still in the yellow. Let me do something. I cut that off. Yeah, these are very low-level spin-ups. Very, very low. Very, very weak. All right, so that has increased. Now it's going over the turnpike. So this last round that just came in from here to here, that tornado has strengthened and widened as it's gone over the turnpike in this area. So again, hopefully there was no vehicles on the roadway at that time. Rotation product obviously quite strong. The debris signature still in the yellow and orange. I imagine it's going to turn to blue now that it's gone to an enhanced strength. 68 mile per hour outbound wind, 25 inbound. So we're still looking at about an EF1 strength tornado. So this is over, let's see, there's North Road 3490 and East Road 880. Again, this is over trees. So the only thing really in this path at that moment was the vehicles on the road.
TVSL detected.
Okay, so there's your cross correlation coefficient. So the debris almost turned blue, it turned green, which means it did pick up a little bit more of those trees. And now this circulation center has actually weakened in speed. It's still locked in as far as gate to gate goes, but the circulation center is weaker now. All right, but look how quickly that happened. You watch it, watch it, watch it. Doesn't do anything. All of a sudden, boom, there it is. Okay, let's see. Further down the line, this guy north of Sulphur. Let's see, West Palmer Road, right along 177 and West 14th Street. Be in your shelters. A little mini spin up there. There's the main parent one down here right over Sulphur on West 1st Street. So stay in your shelters in Sulphur. So let me see here. We do have a debris signature in Sulphur. So the town of Sulphur has had a tornado going through it as we speak. Moving through the north side now. Alright, so this tornado will last over Sulphur for a little bit longer. Be in your shelters. Does have the blue area for debris signature. Unfortunately, I went right through the town. It's never good news. The new circulation up here is getting stronger. Again, that's north of Sulphur by about 4 miles, just paralleling 177. From there, we've got that little circulation center around east of Springer, about 2 miles. Coming back into Dodry, so be back in your shelters for that one. Let's see. New storm developing over here in Lone Grove. Not tornadic yet. Let's see, the Holdenville one. You guys have a really good storm to your southwest you in Spalding. So it's Saskwa. You've got a tornadic storm pretty much right on top of you. And you also have a correlation coefficient heightened in that area, so you probably have also had sustained some damage in and around town. That's 2 towns now with direct hits from tornadoes here in the last few minutes. Wind speed's a little weaker for this one. Probability of tornadoes at 47%. Whereas this one's a little bit stronger. Sulphur, and now the one north, getting even stronger. Alright, so that main area of Sulphur is shifted to the north, out of town. So it's on the Chickasha Turnpike, about 2 miles outside of town. The debris signature will catch up with the next product. And then, of course, we've got the new tornado right here that does not have a warning on it yet from the Weather Service, but no doubt is developing quite rapidly. That's on the Buell Green Road and 177. Okay, so that's that particular storm. Let me check back up here. Strong winds in Tribby. These are up around 70 miles per hour between you and Waynette. Pockets here of 50 to 60 elsewhere in the red area. How is our tornado doing up here north of Davenport, coming into Kendrick? So this is the one that crossed over the turnpike. Let me see if it still has any debris signature. It does not. The convergence is still there with the broad rotation, but it's not a tight rotation couplet. See that it has green, so it cooled down from orange, what it was earlier. But that still is the area to which it could produce another tornado rather quickly. So you'd be in your shelters for Kendrick. Okay, that will then head up toward Drumright on the east side of Avery, and then up to Oilton. So that's where that tornado is going to head if, again, that one redevelops in that area. Okay, back down here to Saskatchewan. That tornadic storm has now moved east of town. Let's see, the weak debris signature is gone. That's good. The rotation is much broader. There's no tight gate-to-gate couplet on it. Still has a strong rotational product along with it, though. So it's very strong. And we're looking at about 3,400 feet in the atmosphere.
You need this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks. Let's see. Thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
Oh, these are good and really probably bad for me. All right. Okay, so we'll watch. Let's see how that one's doing on the new radar update. Let me see. Anything else? So, if you're new here, remember, we're not like other weather markets in Oklahoma City. We show all kinds of radar stuff. So a lot of times you're seeing different color palettes, and it may be confusing. Normally what you're used to seeing everywhere you go across the entire country is this one. It's basically the rain palette, right? The heavier the rain, it turns red. Well, in a situation like this, I could care less about rain. So I kind of rather see the wind. And the wind, we have a red and green color palette, where green equals winds blowing toward a radar site, and red equals winds blowing away from a radar site.
TVSL detected.
And we look for those to where the red and green come together, or in this case, maybe a lull in the red with the enheightment area of the red. We have different products we can switch over. So here's one I just switched over to show that relationship a little bit better. Here's a little weak guy over here south of Agra, and then, but again, northeast of Kendrick is the original old circulation. Let me see. There's no debris ball with that one, so it looks like it still hasn't touched down in a while. So that's good. Now, it could obviously resurge, but not for right now. So we'll focus on the ones that are producing tornadoes, or at least very close to it. Spalding, this is passing, again, 2 miles, 3 miles to your west. Still quite strong characteristic in the data. No debris ball, though, at least. So in other words, if I'm measuring around 3,000 feet, there is nothing above or above that layer, at or above that layer, which means anything that would be detected would have to be below that layer, which means it would be weaker. So that storm would have to be quite a bit stronger. Let's see if I can visualize it this way. We'll cut the thing in half. Okay. Let's do this. So we can move these things around to visualize the updraft. So this is the center part of the circulation that extends well up to about 10,000 feet. And if we had debris in here, we would have a blue area being lofted with the circulation if it was a strong tornado. In this case, we do not. But spectrum width is where things are chaotic because you have moving particles all over the place, according to the radar beam. Anyway, so there's a lot of cool tools you can use. It just takes time to analyze them. But what we care about, obviously, is the strength, location, and then confirmation as to whether or not it's doing damage by using these different tools. Okay, so new data's come in. Let's close that. So it took a little jog to the right. So Spalding, it was originally 3 miles west of you. It is now 2 areas of circulation. Looks like one about a mile, the other one 2 miles. And you can see how the numbers or the color codes have increased. So again, pretty likelihood of a tornado very close to occurring on the west side of Spalding. And so Holdenville, stay in your shelters because this is coming your direction here soon. Probability of a tornado is at 87%. All right, so let's go back down here now to who else we got? Hickory, northwest of you, north of Sulphur, west of Roth. Roth about 1, 2, 3, 4 miles, 5 miles west of you is a little tornado center there. So that's a new one, and here's an old one, looks like. So I think, let's take that back. Yeah. So this is the older circulation here, that if you progress it forward, dies out. And if you'll notice, the blue, let me go step it back. See that? So that was our tornado confirmation. That was north of Sulphur. That's the old one from Sulphur. Okay, that makes sense. So it's still continuing as it works its way up to the north. Let's go back here. Probability of a tornado, this one's 83% still. So again, Roth, this is passing just to your west. Looks like East Road 1620 and 3430. That secondary circulation still out here in Dolberg Road and Robertson Road. That'll be passing, both of these moving to the north. Venoss is coming up soon, and Center and Stratford. All right, let's see, southwest from there. Let's see. There's still a little weak circulation here coming out of Notary. That'll come on the west side of Sulphur. Very, very weak, though. There's nothing that screams problematic right now. But you still want to stay in your shelters. Probably of a tornado. So the algorithm is clustered all three of these storms together. The one down here in Ardmore, let's see, what's going on down here? This is another new storm. Data is very far from the radar down here. Here, I got to do something. Did I set this up? How did I have this set up? I don't remember. Okay, maybe I didn't. So I'm looking at the Durant radar on my phone so I can get another look at that Ardmore storm. Okay, that's not that bad. Okay, so I'll leave that up. All right, so I think all these storms are going to have some really strong mid-level rotation with them. So I think that's just going to be common. Okay. All right, so there's because of what we're seeing here on the radar, Weather Service was just talking about issuing another tornado warning for Ardmore. So this circulation center here is on the west side of town. So there is our little indicator. So coming up on 12th Avenue Northwest, between there and Broadway Street, just west of North Commerce Street. So that is where that potential tornado is located. It does have rotation within that. No cross correlation coefficient to indicate any damage at this time, but very, very strong winds. Okay, let's go back up north. Let's see. Okay, so this is the guy that I told you back in here was forming. So there it is. Still going. Let's see if it has anything that's picked up. So there is tornado debris signature there. New data coming in here. No roadways. So believe it or not, it's over a bunch of trees right now and open land. The rotation product, the highest I've seen today thus far. Off the charts. So we're going to have a large tornado likely develop in this area with that one. Probability of tornadoes at 83%. Okay, so those are those two. Holdenville, let's come back to you. West side of town. Again, another strong tornado looks like developing. There's a very large area of debris signature. We just looked at this not long ago, didn't we? Okay, let's see here. This is not cooperating with me. So in this particular case, it's on the northwest side of town. A very large, strong rotation signature within this. So we're probably going to be getting to the very strong tornado aspect of it. Looks like for at least a window of EF2 type tornadoes are EF3, which is what the models had hinted at all day today that never occurred. So it looks like that's finally being realized, and unfortunately it's at nighttime, which is a terrible time to have it. Very strong hook, though. This is that hook echo we talk about. This is the proper configuration. When a hook echo is more like this or like this, it doesn't do much. It's when it's really wrapped up. Looks like an arm, right? Like you're flexing your arm. So the debris signature for this one is pretty tall. If I look at the blue color, cross correlation coefficient, and I go up different radar elevations, it's up around 19,000 feet. Okay, I lost it there, so it's up to here. That's 25,000 feet. So that means that debris has been lofted that tall, which indicates, again, a very strong updraft from the tornado. So in other words, it's a very powerful, strong tornado. I was trying to visualize that with my line here. So this is where the debris gets pulled up and lofted to here. This is the debris pattern. That's 25,000 feet right there. Now, a lot of times you'll see this whole column be completely blue. That again indicates even stronger tornado with a lot more things hit, right? So not a good sign regardless. So it's moved out of the town of Holdenville. It is at East Road 1310, East Road 130, and it's west. Let's see. I think right now it's just over an open field. I can't get any roads out here. So this rotation product has gone full white. That's the max it goes. Doesn't go any bigger than that. Probability of a tornado is at 93%, so obviously we know that for sure. This is the winds measuring. I hate seeing this. Let me zip down here on this radar view so we can look at this together. So over 100 plus miles per hour, and this isn't even a good sample for the data. It's so chaotic and garbage that it's on this particular program it's hard to see. I'll have to go back to this other one that's a little bit better at resolving it. This little pink pixel here is 121 miles per hour. This little orange pixel is at 71 miles per hour. So you can do the math. It's about 190 miles per hour of shear. So that's our first, probably, very strong to possibly violent tornado of the night with widespread damage hitting a major town. That's the second one. Sulphur was the first. Let's see what's happening now down southwest. Vanoss, that particular tornado-warned storm, is still coming toward your area, passing to your east and on into center, passing west of Ada. This one is intensifying as well. Let's see. It also has a debris ball with it. So these are all nighttime tornadoes. Looks like they're well on the grounds we're talking about now. In a situation of long-lived, long-track tornadoes, looks like is what we're shifting toward. And I hate seeing that. All right, let's go down here to Ardmore, northeast of you, toward Gene Autry. Yes, again, another tornadic thunderstorm. This is the one that was developing in Ardmore. Let's see. If I look at the cross correlation coefficient, I don't see anything lofted at the height of 6,000 feet. So if it's done anything yet, it's keeping it down low. Rotation track is starting to increase though, and wind speeds are picking up. So this looks like will probably increase as it comes into geometry. So make sure you're in your shelters now for this particular tornado. All right, so that's one tornado there. Our second one here, coming into Venice and the centric area. That's 2. Holdenville, here's our third one. Still wrapped up, very strong. Still got a large debris ball with it. All right, and then do we have anything more? Well, we've got the one up here that has continued to kind of show on occasion. See, I kind of doubled a while back. I'd mentioned there's 2 here. Looks like the north one, west one, and this east one both dissipated right before coming into Cushing and Drumright. And then a new one is now formed in between the two right here. That'll be coming up toward Oilton. So be in your shelters on Highway 99 and Highway 51. There'll be a weak one. There's no debris signature with that. And this now at stage in the night, this thing is almost not even worth discussing because it's not doing anything when compared with these down here. So Holdenville, like we talked about, these are wind speeds up around 116, 130 miles per hour. We're missing the data there. This is coming in. It's folded over. Let's see. It's maxed out at 98.
TVSL detective.
All right, so the good news is it's between major towns right now as it continues to be a very strong long track tornado. So again, this is our hook echo looking down from the top of the thunderstorm. This is the three-dimensional view as we look upstairs. If I look at the rotation track within that, the column, I can strip it down to just the tornado itself. So this is what the tornado looks like. All right, it's in a slanted part of the hook, and it tilts upward into the storm up to around 30,000 feet. So 30,000 feet rotational velocity is very, very strong. That's a very big tornado. Okay, so the data did fill back in because we had it missing. Let's see, it's 76, and so it's come down in intensity to 50. So that's 120 knots or 220 miles per hour of shear. All right, so of course there's debris signature, so still picking stuff up off the ground, trees and whatnot. Probability of a tornado is if I needed it. It says 93%. Okay, so this one is coming up toward eventually Okemah. So if you are in Okemah, this tornado will be heading into your direction. It's going to take some time to get there. Let me give you an estimated time of arrival. Let's see, Holdenville, of course, already. Let's see, Okemah had on there about 1017, and then Clearview. Let me do another path on this. Let me do a new one, because I think there might be another one that's been updated. If not, I'll just draw one. Let's see, the path on this one or the timing, let's see, north at 44. And we'll take it from where the tornado is located currently. Do that again. So Kima 10, 11:18 and Beggs at 11:52. Okay, so that's that particular tornado, that large tornado there. Currently coming up on the main intersection of State Highway 48 and Highway 9. This is passing about 10 miles west of Wetumpka, passing just to the east of 9 and 56. So coming right up again on State Highway 48 and Highway 9. Okay, so be in your shelters if you're in the path of that storm. Let's see, let's go back up here to the northern one in Drumright, Oilton. Again, just a broad, weaker circulation within this, but stay in your shelters. We up along State Highway 99 and Highway 51 until this particular circulation area passes. Again, it's basically between Yale and Oilton at this time, coming up toward Jennings. So Jennings and Tarleton and Hallett, be in your shelters for that. All right, let's go back down here into southern Oklahoma. So we're getting into some messy velocity data here. That's partially due to the low-level jet making the algorithms have a tough time at de-listing the data. Let's switch radar sites. Let me see what I can find on this one. So in this particular case, I've done a split view here. Let me switch that to one panel. And you see the storms line up from central Oklahoma to southern Oklahoma, down I-35, and all the way back here to the southwest. Let's flip this over. So we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tornadic storms with multiple warnings all in between. The new tornado warning is coming in for this storm from Thackerville, coming in across the border to Marietta. And honestly, at this point, I think what the Weather Service is going to do is warn on everything in this axis of instability, because they're all going up with rotating structures. So as soon as they see the rotating structure, they're going to put out preliminary tornado warnings to make sure there's plenty of time, because it's nighttime and they want to make sure everybody's safe. So we're going to have a lot of tornado warnings issued over and over and over until this whole thing stops. That may be a while. Okay, so Gene Autry, we talked about that tornado working through your town. Let's see what happened with the debris signature did not get triggered. So you guys may have dodged a bullet here. The circulation center went right over town. Like I said, there's no significant strong debris signature. Still may have gotten something, but there's not anything like we've seen in some of these other areas. Rotation product did spike as it went through the airport. Okay, so let's see what else we got. That'll be making its way from there. Marietta. Then we got Sulphur in its path. Hickory in its path at some point. Passing between Dotary and Mill Creek. Let's see. And then we've got... Okay, let's go to this guy. What's new with him from Van Austin Center? How did this thing materialize? What happened here? Oh, our tornado here formed and then split
detected.
And then dissipated, died out. The residual circulation of wind is going over center right now. So their reports are coming in from some of the damage from these tornadoes. There is significant damage in Sulphur. There are multiple reports of citizens in need of help. So the town of Sulphur did get a pretty sustained hit. So this new circulation area is developing one west of Ada. It'll pass to your north toward the Bing region. Keep an eye out here. You're under a tornado warning anyway in that area, so new circulation could develop. The other one has since diminished. Let's come up here to this guy here for Bearden. This is our other tornado that's been a long track, long-lived tornado. Let's see here. Debris signature. Still there. See the blue now changes over to green and yellow, so it's dissipated quite rapidly, indicating it likely ran out of targets to lift. It still has some trees here, and that's it. So there's a lot of open land, flat land. There's occasional farmhouse here, otherwise just trees. But the strength of the tornado, even though it has weakened some, it is still off the charts for the radar, especially nighttime. Okay, let's update that. Okay. I'm going to switch. We're going to add some radar sources now to cover northeast Oklahoma. So let's switch this one over from Frederick. This line out here, by the way, in Texas is gusted out. You see this? That's reflectivity, which means these lines of storms will weaken. They will no longer pose as much of a severe threat as they did in the past. So the game now will be focused on anything in this developing axis here along the I-35 corridor, then gradually shifting east. So these will be the tornadic storms to deal with. The stuff out here, rainmakers, way down here, you still probably have a little bit of a chance for a little while. But all of these storms here, they've all gusted out. So what would have to happen is these storms would have to get past and catch back past the gust front and then get inflow again. And I don't know, that might not even happen. All right, so let me switch this back up here to Tulsa. That's what I wanted to do. Or did I? Let me see. Does this give me any good data? It's so far away. No, it really doesn't. Okay, so we're going to go to Tulsa. So these storms actually will be making their way into the Tulsa area here in a couple of hours. These strong tornadic thunderstorms. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to hold together that whole time, but they are heading in your direction. Let's see, West Side Jennings, some good wind here, little rotation, little baby rotation, couplets on the top side that rotate back in. This is the same story we dealt with here in Oklahoma City time and time again. They're very small, very transient, don't last long, do very, very little damage, but they're there. And that's, again, that will pass on the west side of Tulsa County. The one south of you, around Fusky County, this one here, coming in toward Bearden, that's the one to watch for you. Still a nice hook echo with it, still a nice, unfortunately, still a debris signature, good velocity data. So Okemah, you need to be in your shelters for this one. So we're going to bounce around for these different radar views. So I'll keep this one centered right about I-40 to keep from Tulsa. We'll bounce around to that one. Let's see. And then we'll keep Twin Lakes out here as well. So we'll tag team this guy here. Let's see, wind speed on this, 66 outbound, 57 inbound to 88. There's your debris signature. So again, this one's the one coming in. It's about 2 miles southeast of Bearden. Okemah, it's about 12 miles southwest of you. Okay, let me see what else. there's that one for Ada we talked about, was forming on the west side. It's very unorganized. It might just be like a little QLCS type development. But there's a tornado warning out for your area, so be in your shelters. There's a little icon here. So the radar is picking up something there, low level circulation. All right, and then back from there, we come back in here to Dotary and Mill Creek. This one has broadened and weakened. All right, back from there, back into Ardmore again. Let's see what's happening down here, Marietta. Let me look on this up here. Let's see. Yeah, it's just, all I see is just this one here. Those may be old polygons that didn't get removed, expired. Alright, so this guy here isn't wrapped up. It kind of dispersed. Never really got
TVSL
organized. There's no debris signature with it. The rotation product is weak. So some good news finally for this cluster down here. Marietta. Yeah, same thing. Okay, let's go where we know there's some problems. Ada, I know, was sounding the sirens, I believe, because of the west side circulation center. So your rotation has picked up the product on the north side of town. So if you do have a tornado, it's on the north side of town, on the loop, and Oak Avenue was the last position here on radar. I don't have a debris signature yet. Let's see here. See this little hook echo? This is a classic supercell look to it on radar. So your supercell looks like this, and it hooks in like this. This is a classic textbook case, and that's the reflectivity. And then on the right, where this hook is, this is where you have your tornado. This is your green coming toward the radar, your color, and your red going away. This is your couplet. So this is, like I said, passing to the east side of Bearden. Let's see here. Centered over Farm Market Road 3740 is a north-south road north of East Road 1170. And like I said, it's about 2 miles, 3 miles to the east-southeast of Bearden. So that's where that one is at. Let's go back down here to Ada. This is Bing. That's some noise there, looks like. Okay. And there's Ada there. Let me go over to this guy. So that little convergence area that went through Ada has shifted to the north. It never had a debris ball or anything with it. Still have rotation tracks or products with it though. And then that being, that was the other thing that looked a little suspicious in this area. So there's like a little rotation product enhancement there. So just on the northeast side of Bing. Okay, let's see here. Takes care of those two. Let's go back down here. East of Dotery, west of Mill Creek, about half and half, right along Highway 177, south of Sulphur. Much weaker here. Still a little hint of a little gate to gate weak shear, so it'll be a small tornado at this point. So reports of a tornado south of Marietta, about 1 mile, looks like. All right. So that's where this, and there's, I mean, the radar coverage down here is so bad we can't even see anything. That's the frustrating part. Let's see here. Okay, so looking at the Durant radar, there is coming, it's right now, actually we're right along 32 on the west side of Marietta, and 35 and Airport Road. It's just west of Airport Road on 35 and on Highway 32. So Highway 32 running out of Marietta and Airport Road is where that's located. So basically right here. You can't see that in the data here, but that's where it's at. I'm using a different radar to see that. Okay, back up here to the north. So obviously be in your shelters, by the way, if you're in Marietta, especially on the west side of town and the north side of town, coming out of town. Okay, let's go back up here. Sulphur, this storm is going to pass, looks like, to your east. Right now it's about 4 miles to your south-southeast. Very disorganized compared to what it was. Ada. Again, this storm is to your north, so you're free and clear of that old circulation center. There's something that's wrapped back up here north of Bean, Kanawha. It's a little messy.